At first glance, the crucifixion appeared to be a standard Roman execution. It was a brutal, chaotic scene, designed by an empire to eliminate a political dissident in the most violent way possible. But the events of Good Friday suddenly break from protocol. Roman guards had a specific procedure to speed death by shattering the condemned's legs. Yet as the Roman soldiers move down the line, they inexplicably halt at the man in the middle. Instead of breaking his bones, someone offers the dying man a drink of sour wine. They choose a highly unusual tool to lift the sponge, a branch of hyssop. Then the moment of death arrives. Historical accounts and centuries of documentation log his final breath at precisely 3 p.m. The unbroken bones, a hyssop branch, a 3 p.m. execution. To a casual observer, these are minor details of a tragic afternoon, but they align with the requirements of a 1,500-year-old legal blueprint. To see why these details matter, we look at the title given to this man, the Lamb of God, and we must travel back to an ancient era where blood was the only recognized currency for human forgiveness. The foundation of this system begins with an ancient test. When Abraham was asked to sacrifice his son on Mount Moriah, he offered a strange reassurance. God himself will provide the lamb. It introduced the idea that a divine substitute could take a human's place. Centuries later in Egypt, that concept of substitution became a literal mechanism of survival. During the first Passover, families painted the blood of an unblemished lamb onto their wooden doorposts. Where the blood was applied, death passed over the house. Under the law of Moses, this practice evolved into the Levitical system. Sacrificing a lamb became a daily morning and evening necessity to bridge the gap between a holy God and a broken people. This animated diagram illustrates the legal mechanism of the altar. The innocent party steps into the place of the guilty. You place your hands on the animal, transferring your penalty to the substitute, and the lamb's life is taken to clear your debt. Fast forward hundreds of years to the 1st century. A prophet named John the Baptist stands at the Jordan River, points directly at Jesus of Nazareth, and publicly calls him the Lamb of God. To a Jewish audience, this was a terrifying label. Lambs were bred for the altar. By giving him this title, John was announcing a death sentence and initiating the ancient legal blueprint. This architectural rendering shows Jerusalem during the final Passover. The city is flooded with pilgrims, bringing thousands of literal lambs through the outer gates to be prepared for the altar. The ancient law demanded a 4-day inspection period. A priest had to carefully examine every lamb to ensure it had absolutely no physical defects or blemishes. While the literal lambs are being inspected in the temple, Jesus undergoes a parallel, grueling series of trials before the Roman governor Pilate and the local ruler Herod. The verdict they deliver acts as the official inspection. They find no fault in him. Next, the sacrificial victim was required to carry the wood for the altar. Jesus carries his own heavy crossbeam up the hill to Golgotha, following the ancient rules. This split-screen timeline tracks the synchronicity of the afternoon. On the left, at exactly 3 p.m., the temple priests blow the shofars to signal the beginning of the Passover lamb slaughters. On the right, at that exact second, the man on the cross breathes his last. The final details, the unbroken legs and the hyssop branch, replicate the exact stipulations laid out during the original Passover in Egypt. The crucifixion comes into focus. Rome overpowered no one. This was a deliberate, voluntary fulfillment of the ancient atonement system. The immediate reaction to his death was architectural. Inside the temple, the massive, thick curtains separating the people from the presence of God ripped entirely in half, from top to bottom. That torn veil meant the ancient system of animal sacrifice was instantly obsolete. The final, perfect blood had been shed, and the physical altar was no longer necessary. We are deeply wired to be moved by voluntary self-sacrifice. The story resonates because human beings are naturally drawn to a leader who lays down his life for his people, rather than a conqueror who demands their lives for his power. The personal mechanism of the cross works exactly like the ancient altar. The lamb absorbed the punishment humanity accrued, and in exchange permanently transferred his perfect standing to the believer. But the Good Friday victim does not remain a casualty. In the prophetic vision of the book of Revelation, the Lamb who was slain is revealed to be the eternal victor, radiating power and ruling over history. The symbol of the Lamb represents the ultimate substitute who paid the absolute price, permanently opening the way back to God.